Hello, everybody. Eric here on Wednesday, August 17th. Let's take a look. Yes, that is what today is. Got some new comics. Worked a long day, in a bad mood, but that's neither here nor there. You're here for the comics. So let's just jump right in. We have Barbaric Axe to Grind, #1 from Vault Comics. The follow up miniseries to the hit miniseries Barbaric. And there have been a couple one shots, which I haven't even read yet. But you've got a barbarian who is forced to do whatever anybody asks or tells him to do, as long as it's honorable or ethical, something like that. And he has a bloodthirsty talking axe. And then there's this witch who's covered in tattoos that is palling along with him. Really, really enjoyed the first series, so I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes with this one. Excuse me. DC versus Vampires All Out War, #2 of 6 from DC Comics, of course. And this is the black and white with splashes of red side story for DC versus Vampires. Still loving what they're doing there. Haven't read the first issue of this yet. It's right on top of my pile, but I'm hoping it's just as good as the main story. We'll see. Those vampires, come on. The Silver Coin, #13 from Image Comics, and I've heard that this is the scariest one yet. That's what the guy at the comic book store said during the live video last night. So we'll see. Anthology horror stories, one story per issue, all connected by the Silver Coin. And it's the stories have varied, as with any anthology. Some are really good, some are. None have been bad, some have been okay, some have been really good, in between. Then we have Parasomnia, The Dreaming God, issue 1 from Dark Horse. This is Cullen Bunn. It is the follow up to Parasomnia, which was about a. There's this man, this woman. I think they're divorced. They're at least separated. Their child has disappeared. And the man is searching in this sort of dream world, this fantasy world, while other things are going on in the real world. Parallel storytelling. It's really, really good. So we'll see what this second story arc brings to the table. It's Cullen Bunn. And then we have Chilling Adventures presents Jinx, Grim Fairy Tales. This is from Archie, I believe. Somewhere it should say that. Yes, Archie Comics, of course. I get all their Chilling Adventures stuff. And this is. Looks like there's a couple stories. There's an intro, and then 3 stories. Different writers, different artists. Yes, yes. So good, scary stuff as we head into Halloween season. My favorite time of the year. All right, so now this book was not on my pull list, but the owner of the comic shop really sold it last night during the live video, so I figured I'd pick it up and check it out. This is called Heart's Eyes. This is #1 from Vault Comics, and let's see. Well, this is what the back says. Sanity-eating monsters ended humanity. The unlucky few who survived now hide in the cracks of a broken world. And yet, somehow, beneath the graveyard that used to be San Antonio, Rico met Lupe, the girl of his dreams. But how did she get here, and why is she smiling? No one survives out in the street. No one smiles where the monsters lurk. It's got monsters in it. I'm sold. But as I said, the owner of the shop said it was really, really good, so why not grab the first issue and decide for myself? And then finally, there was a gentleman there selling a comic book, and he's local. He's actually a science teacher, just a few towns away. And so he wrote this comic. I believe he is the writer. And it is called, I think the full title would be The Life and Death of the Brave Captain Suave. And this is from Scout Comics. And the way he pitched it was, it's Don Quixote, except that it's a homeless man who believes he's a Golden Age superhero. It takes place in Cleveland. So within these pages, he pointed out there's the big wind turbine. There's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And here, I'll just show you. He sees the wind turbine as this Hydra Kraken whatever thing. And the artwork, when it's the real world, is this watercolor nice artwork. And then when it's what's inside his head, it goes to this old-fashioned looking sort of pixelated artwork. So we're seeing what's going on in the real world as well as how he's perceiving it. So it sounded interesting, and I like to support local talent. So I picked up the first issue, and buying this, I also got this little ash can. So it's just a little tiny slip of a thing. He said it's a standalone story, so it's not just stuff that's in here. It's got a crossword puzzle on the back. I haven't even looked at that. Looks like there's an introduction and then a little story. So there you go. I picked up Captain Suave because it sounded interesting, and I like to support local talent. I did not put it on my pull list. I'm going to read it first. I don't support local talent if that talent's crappy. But I'm willing to give it a chance. And that is it. That's all I got. It was a very, very light week. When I added up the stuff on my pull list, it was like $21. And then I added a couple of things, so that brought it up a little. Let's see. I guess my question for this week would be, when you see somebody at a store, let's say you're going to a bookstore, and there's an author sitting in front trying to sell his new book, do you stop and talk to them? Do you look at the product? Do you just walk on by? Does it depend on what type of book it is? Excuse me, I'm going to wipe my glasses off because they're a little smudgy. Do you ignore them? Do you talk to them? What do you do when you see someone hawking their wares inside or in front of the store you're going into? I, being the huge reader that I am, I like to go and typically go and talk to them. At the Barnes and Noble, they'll have, when they have romance writers, I'll say hello, but I'm really not gonna. I know I'm not gonna buy their book, so I'm not gonna waste their time. But I will be nice. I'll say hello. How are you? How are things going? But if it's not clear what type of book they have, or it's something that looks interesting, I'll stop. I'll chat. I'll check it out, and more often than not, I'll pick up a copy. And you never know. There was a guy I bought a book from way back when. I don't know if it was Walden's or if it had become Borders Express or whatever they called it in the mall. There was a guy selling a book, and it sounded interesting. I talked to him. I picked up the book and read it, and then now I can go on Amazon, and he's got tons of books. And the one that I bought and read apparently is quite controversial. It's considered racist. It was called The Plantation, I believe. It was just called The Plantation. And it was about somebody had disappeared, and I want to say it was a football player. It was a black guy, maybe a couple of black people, and they were kidnapping the descendants of the people that owned them, their descendants. So the black people were kidnapping the descendants of the white slave owners who had owned the descendants of the black people, and they were making them slaves, essentially, on a plantation. And so you've got some people on one side saying it's racist because it's, oh, look what these black people are doing, da 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 da. And then on the other side, there were people saying, I think the hero ends up being a white person. I think they make, I don't know how evil they make the black people. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read it. But I think that, I can't remember if the hero's white or not. And they're going to rescue the white people. But anyway, I had looked it up on Amazon at one point, and just to see, and yeah, there was a lot of people talking about how racist it was, and maybe it is. Maybe if I read it now, I'd be like, holy cow, this is not good. But anyway, that's rambling example of me stopping buying something from someone who's hawking their wares outside of the bookstore. What do you do? That's the question. As I said, do you talk to them? Do you ignore them? Are you likely to buy something when you can talk to that person, or not? I don't know. It's not the greatest question this week. What are you gonna do? I'm tired. Let me know your answer in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All that YouTube stuff. If you care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is at Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K. ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I've got. Yeah. That's all I've got for you this week. So until next week, read more comic books.